I'm Joel Guy.
And I'm Naomi Guy.
And you're listening to Why Will No One Date These Days.
We need to pop it open. We totally missed them.
Did we miss this?
Yeah.
This is a bunch of professional podcasters, really.
Woohoo!
Yeah, really showing off our skills.
Which one are you drinking right now? You have to name it.
This is the sparkling coconut water with yuzu.
And Giselle was kind enough to bring us a sparkling natural water lemonade flavor drink. I really butchered that. So we were sampling multiple drinks today. However, that doesn't tell our listeners that this is a podcast exploring love, sex, and relationships among millennials and Zoomers. This week, I've already spoiled her name. Shut up, Naomi. We have a very special guest, someone I've known the better part of 12 years. She plays more musical instruments than I have tattoos. She was revered as a goddess in rural China. She appeared on Ukrainian national television, hungover as fuck. She just flew in from a gig and boy, her arms tired. Please welcome Giselle.
Oh, I'm so glad you guys are inviting me on your true crime sex podcast.
Wait, is that like you have sex with them and then you murder them? Like, what's the sequence of events there?
I only have sex with people who have murdered people, right? There's a very specific dating app for that. It is advertised primarily on murder crime podcasts.
Is it like Christian Mingle, but like murderers mingle?
Okay, given that like tens of millions of women listen to true crime podcasts, I think there should be a dating app exclusively for people who listen to true crime podcasts. And then they like try to murder their significant other and outwit them, you know, with like elaborate
like a
games
murder
of wits.
mystery.
Yeah.
But throughout an entire relationship.
You know, a lot of people say that the relationships lose like the spark over time, that there's not, you know, enough excitement really livening things up, and I think trying to constantly murder your spouse would be a great way to get around that. But you'd have to like sign a contract. It's like, I consent to potentially be murdered.
It's all about consent.
It is all about consent.
Do we allow life insurance policies in this game or no?
Ooh, that's a
Up
game.
stakes?
No, this is life. This is real life.
It's
Giselle.
the game called life.
Damn. Naomi played a far grittier version of the game of life than I did.
Yeah, that's true.
Giselle, it is nice to have you here today.
Thank you.
We've known each other for a while. Have we ever awkwardly probed each other's dating lives?
Probably over a few beers.
Okay. So I do want to start with...
Beers and Joel? No.
Yeah, they make me gassy.
Stop saying that.
It's funny because it's true. I think our listeners want to hear who you are. Why did we invite you onto this podcast? What do you bring to the table?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't really bring much to the table as far
you did
as
bring this great sparkling water.
expertise in sex things. I like to talk about sex. I've always been pretty open about sexuality and talking about those awkward things. I do like to make people awkward that don't like to talk about sex. I don't know if that makes me a psychopath or not, but...
Well, you already listen to True Crime podcasts, so you're like on your
Darn it.
way. Yeah.
Yeah, I did do a stint with a nonprofit where I developed a sex ed curriculum and helped implement that in a juvenile detention center. But outside of that, I've just got a biology degree, so I know a lot about sexual organs and sexual things.
What's your favorite sexual organ? You don't rank all
I mean,
of them.
obviously the clit. Are you kidding me? Have you seen that guy?
That guy. Are all clits men?
Are all guys guys?
That's a really good question.
That's a really good question.
Boy, this is now a philosophy podcast.
I also identify as a mushroom because I'm a fun guy.
There it is.
And that's it. Business partnership between myself and my sister has been dissolved. I think we wanted to invite you on because of all the people in our friend circle, you have most likely been on the most dates.
Ooh.
Do you agree with that statement?
Yeah, how many have you been
probably
on?
have people...
Wait, are we talking like a proper date, a dating app date, or...
Everything and anything.
Do you not define dating app dates as proper dates?
Ooh.
Well, if you don't actually go on a date and you just go straight to the bed, I don't know if that's
Okay, then that's not a date. That's just like a hookup. That's a dating app hookup.
Okay.
Yeah.
So those don't count in your numbers.
I would say what we're primarily looking for is experience using dating apps and casually seeing people on the side. You probably have people you know who have been on many more dates and casual flings, but I think in the primary friend circle I interact with, you're the expert.
That's me.
The sex expert.
The
Yes.
sexpert.
The sexpert. There we go.
That's a nice way to call me a hoe.
We don't slut shame. No, we don't. What was
I
it?
had
What was
a
that
horrible
called?
audio mix-up at one point in a recent episode. I was like, we don't slut shame. No, we don't sex shame slut workers. And so now Naomi is constantly reminding both me and the viewers that I'm a horrible person, which honestly isn't that difficult. So I want to know, what is your kind of opinion on meeting people on a dating app versus in person? Are there any perks? Have you noticed there's, different things people are looking for? Why do you primarily use one over the other?
Well, it's been a bit since I've been on a dating app. Decided to give that one a rest for a while. Kind of gets exhausting. It's a lot of window shopping and not a lot of... you go through a lot of faces without really getting a lot out of it. Meeting people in person is nice because oftentimes you'll meet them in a setting where you both have shared interests. So
Sure.
I've met people at bluegrass festivals or out at a karaoke bar. So you typically meet them in places that you frequent or that you have an interest in. So, I don't know. The chances of finding somebody that you might click with tend to be a little higher than just swiping through faces.
Yeah. What do you think you're looking for in relationships? Are there specific qualities you're looking for in a person? Certain facial characteristics? A great rack? I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, my dartboard has begun to zero in and become smaller. So if you asked me this 5 years ago, I'd been like, I don't know, just a nice face, a beard.
What I recall, you described this to me maybe in 10th grade in high school. You were like, tall guys with beards who wear scarves.
Well, that's pretty much the same as now.
Oh
But
my god. That makes so much sense.
yeah.
And that was around the time that hipsters were big.
Yeah, Giselle's always been very mainstream.
That's me.
just constantly insulting Giselle, the Guy family.
Yeah.
But what would you say has sort of changed? What have you kind of learned about yourself that's allowed you to zero in?
I found some non-negotiables. For me, I don't want a smoker. I just...
Okay, smoker of marijuana or smoker of nicotine products?
Nicotine.
Okay.
A guy who puts
Yeah.
meat on a grill and,
Oh, then dad's out the door. He's not an option.
Oh, no, wait, dad bods? Are we talking dad bods now? Because I'm all about the dad bod situation. That's definitely negotiable.
Well, that comes with, a guy in a polo shirt and sandals with socks that decides to grill a lot of meat on the weekends. I don't think you could escape that.
Yeah, I mean, I typically do go for older gentlemen.
50, 60, 90.
Not that older. We're
Okay.
going to say 30s. I'm attracted to somebody that has their shit together a little bit more. Probably because I don't have my shit together, so it's nice to have somebody that does.
You heard it here first, folks. Giselle is what we colloquially call a project. If you enjoy solving 1,000-piece puzzles or putting together a shed in your backyard, Giselle is the girl for you.
That's me.
No joke. Do you want us to put your contact information on our website so you can get all sorts of marriage proposals? From
Yes.
Oh, God.
Oh my god, that's gonna be so awkward.
Yeah.
I want them.
No, it's you know how you don't put an age range or a specific number of miles on you undo all the filters on your dating apps, and then it just these random fucking men message you on Hinge or something. They're like, oh my god, I've never seen someone so pretty, and I'm like, yeah, of course not. You live in Yuma,
Well,
You know what? I need a little bit of pep in my life, a little bit of excitement.
Okay.
So let's go for it.
So some random men calling you at 3 a.m. being like, hey, Giselle.
Let's not do phone number. Let's do Instagram.
Ooh.
Oh my god, whoever can send you the best email.
Yeah, I do like a nicely worded email.
I do like a
You're
nice
going to get
worded
some
email as well.
interesting attachments, I'm sure.
This email finds you well.
I am a casual appreciator of the opposite sex, the fairer sex, as they so call. Naomi, I feel you can talk a little more intelligently about this. Have you run into any issues when you kind of open up the gates and let all of the potential partners in. I know you've played around with filters before just to see what you could see, and that permanently screwed up some of your dating apps.
It was like a 5-10 minute window of me being like, I need a sugar daddy. And then remembering what sugar daddies entail. So I was like, okay, let me like totally change the filters. Let me like, you know, undo all the mile ranges and shit like that. And then I started getting this random amount of messages. Like people would like swipe up on multiple, like on Hinge. I don't know if you are on Hinge or ever.
I've never been on Hinge, but I've done Bumble and a whole buttload of Tinder.
Okay. Well, on Hinge you can like specific pictures in the profile and like message them through that picture. So this guy messaged me. He was like 62. And I was like, red flag number 1. And he was like, let me take you to Disney. And then further in the profile, it said something about him, like, not appreciating his ex-wife.
Well.
And I was like, this is just, like, he's old enough to be my grandfather, for one. Like, if he really tried, he could have been the age of my grandfather, if you really think about it. He wanted to take me to Disney, and he's interested in a 20-year-old. And it's not like, okay, you want a pretty young thing, sure, okay. But what the fuck do you have in common with me? Like, if you think about it, he was probably like, okay, not Vietnam, but like, he was probably in a war at some point in his life. If you think about it, he's lived through a couple. He'd be like, oh yeah, I remember the earliest days of Mickey Mouse cartoons. And I'd be like, okay, I remember seeing those like on YouTube as like a meme.
You could take the trolley downtown and buy yourself a steak dinner and a slice of kidney pie and still
like,
have enough left for a ride home.
It's totally different, like, trying to bond with your parents because you have something in common with them because you're, like, a part of them. So, like, the age difference doesn't fucking matter. But, like, a person that is that age, like your parents' age, that's, like, trying to, like, get to know you in a romantic way just, like, freaks me out. Because I'm just, like, I have nothing in common with you. Like, you're going to be talking about philosophy and like the best golfing clubs in Arizona. I'm gonna be like, oh well, I just went to class today and like this is what my professor taught and like I had this for lunch.
Maybe that's what he wants. He wants to.
Well, I think it's interesting that he
excitement
opens.
Of a young life.
He opens with the offer of Disneyland because he's like, I can't offer you anything but like financial support if you want tickets to go to an expensive theme park. Yeah,
he knows what this whole thing's about.
Right. Yeah.
I'm just not a Disney adult, so I wasn't interested in that. I had a friend who I met my first semester freshman year at ASU, and she kind of gave me the impression, because I hadn't been on dating apps at that point, she gave me the impression that Hinge was specifically a sugar daddy, like, site. Like, you go on Hinge to find a sugar daddy specifically, which I later found out was incorrect. But she was telling me that she was dating this older guy, and I was thinking, like, oh, okay, she's 20, almost turning 21, like, maybe a 30-year-old. He's 56. She told me and her followers on Instagram that if we were voting for Biden, like, around the election, that she, like, wanted us to kill ourselves. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll block her. But one of her TikToks went famous, and, like, went viral. And so she, I saw it, and it was like when you can go to the grocery store and get the student discount and the senior discount at the same time.
Good times.
She was a meme.
So, obviously, Naomi's had some horror stories. Are there any first date or long-term dating experiences that stand out as particularly bad? And, you know, what made them so bad?
Yeah, I think I've had, because I'm the hoe of our friend circle.
Damn,
as
I'm not
Joel
trying to sex shame.
I think you're sex shaming yourself.
I'm telling you to wear it as a pride of honor. You know, get some medals and a
Pride Month
WWE
just ended,
championship
but we can get you a little "I'm a hoe" little sticker button
really
or
nice.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, I've had a good amount of train wreck and or uncomfortable dating experiences, but the one that takes the cake is one that is straight out of a movie. Like, you can't make this shit up. But I met this guy at a karaoke bar, and I was drunk, and he was drunk, and he walked in, and it was like an immediate attraction, whether it be because of the alcohol.
He also likes beer. What a rare quality.
Well, and he was tall.
Oh, okay.
And he had a scarf.
Oh, yeah.
And a beard.
I think he did actually have a scarf. Yeah. It was some of the colder months, so don't worry, it wasn't just for style. But he was very handsome, and because I get really bold when I drink, it makes me, want to be friends and meet people. I immediately walked up to him and started flirting, and we exchanged numbers and started texting, and we went on a few dates. We were dating about for 2 or 3 weeks at that point, and he'd come over to my house a couple times to shag, but I had not been over to his house. And me being a true crime fanatic, I'm like, okay, what is he hiding? Probably dead bodies. I should probably clear this and go to his house at some point to make sure. So at one point we were at dinner and he invited me over, and I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. He just likes to take things slow. And, he supposedly had 3 dogs, and I was like, oh, hell yeah. We're gonna get laid, gonna hang out with some dogs. We show up to the house, beautiful home, because he was in his 30s and successful. And there were 4 dogs. And I was like, I'm not complaining, but I thought you said you had 3 dogs. And then, we were drinking beer and hanging out. He's like, oh yeah, I'm watching, for somebody and blah, blah, blah. And then after about 30 minutes of drinking beer and hanging out, I stand up to go to the bathroom, and I walk in the bathroom, and there are 2 toothbrushes, 2 robes, 2 sets of slippies.
Oh my God, was he ambidextrous?
He actually had 4 legs, 2 mouths. So then I walk out, and I'm like, okay, you have to explain yourself. First the dog, and then this situation.
Well, the dog gets cold, hence the bathrobe. And the dog also cares about their dental hygiene, so I brush her teeth.
Well, and then it comes out that he actually had a kind of girlfriend, according to him. She's a flight attendant, so she was gone a lot of the time. And they've been having this quote-unquote on and off relationship. However, she was in the process of moving in with him. So
that sounds pretty off.
I'm like, okay, you let this go 3 weeks, and then you decide to tell me. That's kind of shitty. So by that point, I was real drunk and just really annoyed. And I was like, can I just crash on your couch for a bit until I feel okay to drive? So I crashed on his couch because I'm not about to sleep in the bed where he shags his girlfriend.
His on and off again girlfriend who's about to move in.
You don't even know if it's
right.
girlfriend.
She's in the process of moving in.
Yeah.
And I wake up at 7. He's shaking me awake. He's like, hey, we gotta go. Do you want to go get breakfast or something? Like, we gotta go right now. She's coming to drop stuff off. And I was like, bitch, sit your ass down. We're gonna wait for her. But anyway, I start grabbing all my stuff, and I hear a car door close outside. And I'm like, okay, it's time to meet my fate. And there's a knock on the door, and he goes, open the door, and I'm sitting on the couch in my dress from the date night before, like a little black dress, my shoes next to me, their heels. And he opens the door, and they hug, and he gives her a kiss, and she looks over, she sees me, and he's like, this is my friend Giselle. And he introduces us, and we shake hands. But there was this moment of, like, understanding where I think she saw how terrified and, like, deer in the headlights I was. I think she knew that I didn't know about her, and vice versa. But anyways, we shook hands. She was very nice. She walked immediately to the kitchen. I walked immediately to my car. And never talked to that fucker again.
Nice. You took one of the dogs for good riddance.
Yeah. How long ago was this?
This was like 3 years ago.
Interesting.
Naomi, do you have any experiences that roughly mimic that?
No, I've been in, like, situations that are very awkward that, like, I had a feeling that something else was going on. Like, I was, like, missing... I was hanging out with this guy, and I was missing, like, an earring back. And, he was cleaning his apartment while I was there one day, and he, like, is vacuuming. And he goes, "Oh, I think I see it." And I was like, "Sir, that is not my earring back. That is probably some other bitch that has been on this couch, but that is not my earring back."
All you guys are assuming the worst in people. It could be that he liked wearing earrings, right?
He didn't have his ears pierced. I would.
What if they were clip-ons? Did you look closely? Come on, Naomi.
It was an earring back. You don't have
What if
backs
it wasn't
for clip-ons.
his ears that were pierced?
Ooh, now we're talking.
I just learned yesterday what a Jacob's ladder was. Just yesterday.
Also,
Just
Naomi discovered this
sorry.
cool website called UrbanDictionary.com.
No, I just got, because I'm taking human sexuality as a B session class.
Oh,
in
I
the
love
summer.
that class.
Yeah, and so I'm taking it, just a fun class. And I opened up to this random page, and I was kind of just looking around the textbook, seeing what was up. And I was talking, Jordan was sitting right here, and I was sitting where you're sitting. And he just looks down, and this page had been open for 30 minutes, and he just looks down, and he goes, "Oh, that's a Prince Albert's piercing." And I looked at it, and it's just a picture of a penis and the piercing. And we had a good laugh about it. And then he's like, "Do you know what a Jacob's ladder is?" And I was like, "No." And then he showed me, and I was
I feel that's some form of
interested.
sexual harassment.
No, I asked for it. I asked him what it was.
Oh, okay.
He didn't show me his, but...
So it sounds like you've had some run-ins with...
Speaking of dick pics,
Yeah, let's talk about him.
I think your listeners would really appreciate this piece of art that Joel has never forgotten. I think it really impacted him
Oh, yeah.
at a deep level.
Hit me like a fire truck.
Yeah, but my first house out of college, lived with friends, and for a while it was a bunch of girls, and we all had cats and plants, and we called the house the Pussy Palace because a lot of cats,
Yeah.
And
That's the only reason.
we were a bunch of young women in college, and we received a healthy amount of dick pics. And so
What is a healthy amount? I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I consider a healthy amount receiving no dick pics.
well, a moderate amount.
Did you mean an amount of healthy dick pics? Like no obvious sores or lice or anything?
Some of them were not so healthy looking.
Ah.
But we received a modest amount of dick pics. So we started saving them and printing them, and we had this wall in one of our cleaning closets, and we started posting them on this wall and creating a dick pic collage.
Nice.
And after 2 years, it was very full of very many dicks. My favorite being a gentleman who literally, for size, whipped his dick out and set it on his computer keyboard and then snapped a picture from above so you could see it across the keyboard.
I saw this text exchange, I think it was on Reddit the other day, and it was this guy who was texting, they had gotten to know each other over a dating app, and he was asking, "Oh, where should I put my first tattoo?" And she was like, start on your arm, maybe work your way down. That's what I would do if I were you. And so he takes a picture from above, he puts his arm up and takes a picture straight down, and he was like, "Ignore my dick in this picture, but what if I put it right above my crotch?"
Love it.
Yeah.
I always like the idea of crotch tattoos because, people go swimming on occasion, and I would love to, for someone to be going swimming and people be catching glimpses of, some crotch tattoo
Like
over the top of
Pinocchio?
their swimsuit. Yeah.
Pinocchio.
And at first I'd have to wonder, what sort of tattoo is important enough to you that you put it on that sensitive of an area. It's probably going to be either obscene or, deeply personal. And then, there's just a bunch of people at the public pool oh, God.
That's when you just get an above ground pool.
This is true. Your entire lifestyle has to change to accommodate a crotch tattoo. Giselle, one of the things we've discussed on this podcast at length is why people aren't dating as much as it seemed that culture was pushing them to in, say, the early 2000s. It seems there's been a decline in marriage rates, the number of people in long-term relationships, even just the number of dates people go on. Do you feel that it has anything to do with the behavior of some of the people on dating apps? And if so, what behaviors would those be?
I don't think it's because the behavior on dating apps. I think when you have a society that pushes humans in the way that we do, and we're constantly working on stuff, we're always busy, we're always going to the next thing, we're always going to work 5 days a week, 40 hours a week plus. Things like dating kind of fall to the wayside.
Right. I guess what I'm wondering is, because, yes, people have less money, people have less free time. I think there's been cultural shifts where people are no longer as interested in having kids just because that option is open. But have there ever been interactions where you've been talking to someone and, like, immediately their behavior made it clear you weren't interested when it could have been you shared a lot of interests? Say, for instance, at bluegrass get-togethers or karaoke nights or anything like that.
Yeah, I've definitely had a couple experiences where we're chatting away, things seem really good, and then they drop something, and that's pretty much the end of it.
Hey, you ever heard of a Jacob's Ladder? Let me show you.
The nice thing is with dating apps is you can just block that and move on.
Yeah.
Like, it's cut your losses. Like, it's very low stakes with dating apps. Mm-hmm. It's like playing the penny slots at the casino. It's like you're really not going to win, so you can just keep playing.
I think that's, yeah. In your experience, I know that you said you haven't been on dating apps in a while, but in your experience, when you were talking to people through dating apps, what was the normal amount of time that you, like, texted back and forth before you went on dates?
Yeah, so I usually spend a couple weeks texting before I meet them, mostly for my own personal safety, because I do not want to become a victim.
You've listened to too many.
Exactly.
podcasts, yeah.
Exactly. So it's mostly for self-preservation, but it's also to weed them out before I form an emotional attachment. Because as soon as I go on a date, suddenly there's a face to the name and there's a body there. So it feels a little bit more like strings attached. So I like to do about 2 weeks of solid texting before we meet up.
That's fair. Okay.
So you go through that thing where you meet someone and almost immediately you're thinking, okay, we're going to have 3 kids and we're going to live in a house in Albuquerque and we're going to have olive skin and he's going to be a contractor at a construction company.
But he's going to wear
scarves
all the time.
And scarves all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
I want you to wear a scarf, but nothing else.
But that is something you do, right? So you want to delay the inevitable for as long as possible.
Yeah, I think everybody has a brain that kind of runs wild. And you do go through the scenarios of, okay, is this somebody that I could build a life with? Okay, is it somebody that I could potentially see myself having kids with?
Yeah.
Is it somebody who I want to introduce to my family? Like, you ask yourself these big questions, not with the expectation that these are the next steps, these have to come next, but you want to be able to kind of check some of the boxes so you know you're not getting involved with somebody who there's really no positive outcome.
I found that interesting because when I'm on an app like OkCupid, maybe this is just the profiles that I like and am interested in, but typically it seems I can get a very good impression of a person just from what they've described themselves as in their dating profile. You know, it's like 8 paragraphs of detailed text about their interests and hobbies and backstory. There's, photos of them in different scenarios. If they put it together right, you get a really good idea of their friends and their family and, their attitudes towards certain things. And so if I see someone that I'm attracted to, almost immediately I'm thinking, what would our life together be like? What would I have to change as a person?
You'd make soap and she'd make jam. And you'd live happily.
Well, that's true in all these stories. Don't even think about that. The soap and jam is not a part of the life.
No, I think that's, definitely an OkCupid thing. Because, on Tinder, Hinge... Oh, I've never been on Tinder. But, Hinge and Bumble were the ones that I was on. You get, 3 sentences max.
Right,
and all of them are, already half constructed for you. It's if you had a superpower, what would it be?
And in Tinder, they don't even give you that.
Yeah.
A lot of profiles don't have anything. It's just the name, the gender, the age.
How tall they are sometimes.
And how far away from you they are.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we should do an episode just talking about the respective benefits and detriments of certain dating app designs, because to me, it's very easy to construct an artificial persona for something where you don't need to provide a lot of details, right? You can just go on like Reddit and find the funniest punchlines that people have seen on other dating profiles and throw them in. And so automatically you can project this idea that you're a confident, sexy, charismatic individual. But I guess, again, what I'm looking for is to get a better idea of like what a person authentically is, you know, the things that they do that define them in their lives. And maybe that's why I guess I haven't used those other apps as much.
I think you'd be very interested to use those other apps because, like, I know that, like, we exchanged profiles on our way back from Sedona one day, and we were showing our mom, we were like, this is our dating profiles, and she was like, oh, God. And so I showed mine off, and she was like, this isn't the Naomi that I know. This isn't, like, the person I know. Because I have a lot of, like, pictures that, like, they're different fonts of me, so it's, like, me in a swimsuit or me, like, dressed up to go out, and then, like, me in, like, a lazy outfit. Like, something...
Ariel, Verdana, Times New Roman, Comic Sans, that's a good one.
Yeah,
Wingdings.
I've just been told so many times that I don't necessarily look the same in every single picture on my dating profile, so they kind of had to, like, put it together when they met me, which is understandable, but it's also like, okay, different cameras, different lighting, different, like, outfits, different makeup days, different, like, it's very interesting. And then he was showing off his profile, and it was like...
Harry Potter and the very long-winded Joel's dating profile.
Yeah, it was like 8 pages, and, like, like, specific, like, his specific interests, and a lot about him, a lot of good pictures that described him, and I guess, like, that was where I was faulted in my profile, because I didn't necessarily have pictures that described me as a person. It was just, like, my best pictures.
Mm-hmm. I guess what I find weird is, on those apps, whether it be, you know, Tinder, which I guess people now kind of use for long-term dating, not just hookups, and Bumble, and Hinge, and Coffee Meet Bagel, there seems to be this intention to date impressions of people, not actual people. Because I think many people get this, like, the sexiest, most best side of you from these carefully cultivated profiles, and they don't understand, you know, the actual nitty-gritty aspects of a personality that are kind of the negotiables in dating. You know, does this person clean up after themselves? Mm-hmm. Does this person fart a lot because they have, like, an intestinal disorder? Does this person really hate spicy foods and refuse to eat anything? And I find that kind of weird, because it seems the apps are trying to create these artificial versions of an individual, not necessarily setting people up for long-term success in dating. Like, I can see there's a way of that being, like, helpful for people who are trying to get in the dating scene. At the same time, though, I don't know if that's conducive to actual love.
Yeah, I think modern dating apps have really married with Instagram, because it really is about putting your best side forward regardless of what other sides you may have. I'm actually the daughter of somebody who met their partner they're married to on a dating app. On, what's the really old one? Not Christian Mingled.
Farmers Only.
Definitely not Farmers Only.
Texan Gun Lovers.
No, it's like the OG, like where you had to email
Ashley Madison.
and wait a day for a response. And
well, I know they had, like, VHS dating back in the day. Our parents
that.
met through personal ads and the Indianapolis newspapers.
That's right.
Maybe your parents were part of a fax system where they sent back and forth love letters.
Seeking arrangements?
No.
That sounds not at all innocuous.
It'll come to me. I'll
Single and over 50.
Well, and that was really good because you had to wait a certain amount of time to get a response. So it takes a lot of patience, and if you're willing to commit to that, like the weeks of courting via slow technology and then going on dates, like better outcomes are to be expected, I think. And obviously the technology wasn't that great, so it's not like you could take fancy photos and post those. It was kind of like a shitty photo you had on your computer at the time.
It's me, Melvin.
what you took on your flip phone.
Yeah, right.
No, I think that's an interesting point. I do think the longer you know someone, potentially the better the outcome. At the same time, though, I can also see it being really easy to lose interest in a person after exchanging a couple of notes back and forth and not having anything in common that you feel will keep you together in the long term.
Well, in this case, they had stuff in common, and they went on dates, and they kept getting better, and they're happily married, and yeah, it's a case where it worked, and it worked really well.
Well, I won't pretend to be an expert in this area, but arranged marriages are still practiced around the world, and I think the idea and kind of the philosophy behind them is you don't fall in love with people, you learn to love people over time. And maybe that's not the healthiest of attitudes, because you might be able to forgive a lot of behavior if you've been spending a lot of time with a person.
I think arranged marriages get a lot of shit, but there are a lot of good aspects to them. Number one being that arranged marriages are often coordinated by family and friends. So the people that know you best are kind of coordinating who you're going to be married to. And that's almost, the ideal way to find somebody is take the people that know you the best and have seen you grow up and know all your quirks and let them pick somebody out for you. Kind of the unbiased, not advocating for arranged marriages, but just pointing out
don't ask me to arrange a marriage.
I'm going to find you a nice beau. Just you wait. His name's going to be Kevin. He's going to be
my father's
38.
name.
He's
as
going
soon as he said that, I was thinking your dad.
I get what you're saying, and I think there's some underlying sense to that. But again, going back to what Naomi said about our parents looking at our dating profiles, which was not at all awkward and weird, they came away with a completely different impression. They were like, what the heck? These are all your interests and passions and hobbies. I had no idea. And I'm pretty open. We're both pretty open, I think, Naomi, with our parents. You probably are, but I'm sure there's still things your parents don't know about you. And so the idea that they could make long-term decisions for you is interesting. I'm not saying it's bad per se. I just have to think a little bit more about the implications of that. Because I know I'd feel super bad if I'm like, hey, son, I found you a daughter. And then, he absolutely hates his wife but is bound to her forever. I don't know.
Yeah, I actually know somebody in arranged marriage. And like you were saying, Joel, it's a lot of learning to love the person. And he's been with this person for coming up on 50 years.
Wow.
40, 50 years. And for him, it hasn't been easy. But we were talking about it the other week, and he said something like, as dark as this outlook is, you're really choosing between living your life alone versus living your life with a companion. And I think everybody wants to be able to live and die with a companion by their side, regardless of whether there's passion involved. And so it is a lot of learning to love and live with another human, and that's kind of how he views it.
I think that's fair. Naomi, can I set you up with someone?
No.
I've had so much success setting up Giselle with various friends. Mr. Chen.
Oh.
Dad's still pushing his old coworker on me.
Ippy. We could do Ippy. It's time for Ippy. He went to Notre Dame, Giselle.
Did he?
Yes.
I'm interested.
Oh my god, no. So I went on a date with a guy, and he was, oh god, what ethnicity was he?
We at the Date These Guys podcast think ethnicity is very important in a dating partner.
It was just because if I explain he looked Middle Eastern. That's all I had to say. Was
Okay.
he had olive skin and dark hair, and he had really nice features, and that was the whole point of me bringing up his fucking ethnicity, Joel. So I went on a date with him, and he seemed very positive when we were messaging back and forth, and he went to Berkeley, and he was a gymnast at Berkeley, and he is successful, and he was 25, and he was
There
doing
was 10
his
scarves
thing.
in his closet.
He did not have any scarves. He drove a Mercedes. He was just he seemed like a really genuinely nice guy, and so I was hoping for the best, went on a date with him. It did not work out very well because as soon as I saw him and his personality together, it it was not good. I was not physically attracted to him. He was an attractive person. I just wasn't physically attracted to him. And that's like the worst thing ever is like you hype up this person and you think that they like have a lot of good qualities. I will show you a picture later. My mom, when she saw a picture of him, was like, Chris, I'm leaving you to my dad. But like, that's like sucks is like you go and you talk to this person and you're like, wow, this person is really great and they think the same ways that not the exact same ways, but like they have the same mental processes that I do, if that makes any stinking sense.
They don't have shitty attitudes towards things I care about.
I think that's where the different dating apps are kind of geared toward different things. Like Tinder, it's great for finding out patterns and physical traits and things that you like. You could swipe through all day and come up with a list of things that you notice that you're constantly swiping left on. And those are really important first steps if looks are a deal breaker for you, if sexual attraction is a deal breaker. Because then you go on your date and if it doesn't click conversation-wise, okay, that one's a no-go. But the inverse is true with things like Bumble and OkCupid. You can get to know the person through conversation and these long-winded bios, but then you meet them in person, physical attraction isn't there. So they're like opposites of each other. So I guess it depends on which one you value more, which one is the deal breaker.
Talking about deal breakers and profiles, what is an automatic red flags like swipe left on dating profiles?
Gym photos.
Gym photos. Yep. Why do you say that?
I don't want to date somebody that spends the majority of their life in a gym. I think gyms are wonderful and very useful, and I myself go to a gym. But the idea that you can spend 2 hours lifting heavy things, staring at yourself in a mirror while lifting heavy things, that is a bit of a turn-off and a bit of concern for me.
Okay, hiking photos. More favored than disfavored?
I like them.
Because I think that's sort of a similar idea, but it's like, I go out in nature to exercise and keep myself healthy.
If I see a hiking photo, great. I want somebody who has a wide array of interests, and hiking may not be their favorite thing in the world, but they're showing me they do in fact go on hikes, and I could in fact take them on a hike or take them camping. So, I mean, those are things that like, it just shows you that they're a real person. They're not a robot.
Hunting photos?
Oh, hell no. Yeah.
Is it because of the guns, or is it because of the killing of the animals? Why is it a no?
Both. I think there's a lot of culture surrounding showing off a gun in a profile picture, especially a profile picture on a dating app.
Okay.
If that's one of the 5 photos that you have chosen as a photo that defines you or that you want to put out to the world, that's concerning to me, that you want to include
aggression.
That speaks aggression to me, especially if you've got a dead animal next to you. That's a hard no.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of like sport hunting, but I can respect the fact that in certain parts of the world it's like imperative to survive. So like if it's just something you do casually because like you need meat to survive through winter, that's one thing. If you kill elk because you want cool antlers to put on your wall, I think that's completely
well, and I think
different.
The people that do hunt for good ethical reasons, they're not posting that on their dating profile.
Yeah. I think they consider it kind of like, it's not cool and sexy to them, it's just part of existence. And I think the people who do find it cool and sexy have some weird views of masculinity.
eHarmony. I just remember the name of the site.
eHarmony. Okay. Yeah, that is a pretty old one. You know that old wise tale or whatever that is that's like teach a man to, or take a man to fish and
do you mean
feed
an
him for
idiom?
a day. Sure, whatever. Sure.
Have you heard that if you teach a man to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime?
No, okay, so the original one is give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. So I heard a parody off of it yesterday that was something along the lines of, give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, teach a man to fish, and he'll use the picture that he takes while fishing in his profile for a lifetime.
You ain't wrong. Yeah, I don't do fishing photos either. And
no,
actually,
like I think it's an activity that you can do. Like if you got it passed down from like your family, and it's something you do as a family, cool. But I don't want to see it in your profile. Give me something to work with, like in the sense of like if it comes up in conversation, cool, it's something we can talk about, but I don't want that to be the first thing I see and the first thing I talk about with you.
Yeah, it shouldn't be one of the 5 photos that you've chosen to put out.
Okay, picture of a gentleman with his arm around the waist of a younger person, approximately your age.
Oh, no, because it's not his sister.
And they all, oh my god, this irks me to the core. When people are like, why does nobody like me on this app, or why does nobody swipe right? When after what I bring this up because I really don't like when they're like, don't worry guys, it's my sister. And they say it in such a way that it's like, I understand that that's not your fucking sister. I understand. You don't need to give me any more context.
Yeah, and then my other favorite is when they'll post a photo that's very clearly cropped, and you can see a heel and then an arm around his waist, and you're like, okay.
And it's painted nails or something.
That's probably his ex-wife or his other lover.
Unless, you know how you can buy fake arms where you can do this Instagram photo shoots where you're holding someone's hand as you walk down a beach?
Then why would you not just not crop the whole picture?
Well, I'm saying he couldn't afford a whole fake person to pretend to be interested in him, so he just cropped the photo so it looks like there's someone interested.
I also one thing I always look for, and that I have to see on a dating profile if I'm even going to consider, is I want to see a picture of you with your friends. Just one. I want to know that you have people in your life, you have friends, you do things with people. Because if it's just a dating profile and it's just the pictures of you, that doesn't tell me anything about the people you associate with and how you interact with your community. I want pictures of you doing fun things with other humans.
What if it's a picture of them volunteering? Because I feel that's a bit of a pick-me sort of situation. Where they're either, which a mission trip picture would be a red flag for me. But if they're feeding the homeless or something, what do you think of that?
That's a little weird. I feel all those sorts of photos, whether it be on a mission trip or a volunteer trip, it does kind of exploit the goal of said work, which is, doing good for the sake of good. But, if it's a candid photo, they walk around, they take photos of you, that seems good. But I don't want to see a selfie of you, handing a homeless person a meal.
Yeah. It's like that guy's hey, where should I get the tattoo? Oh, here's a photo. Just don't mind my selfless acts of charity that are in the corner of the frame. No, I think that's an interesting comment about doing things with friends. I don't think people who lack friends are bad. It just concerns me if potentially I would be the only person in their life. Right? I do not want to be the sole focus of your energy and attention. I want you to have hobbies and interests and a life outside of me. I don't have the energy, honestly, to keep myself entertained all the time. I don't know how you could expect that.
That's why he keeps me around.
Yes, Naomi, I there's just a drawstring in the back of Naomi, and Naomi, when you pull it has one of her patented catchphrases. Come on, Naomi.
Absolutely not.
Great. Oh, incredible. What a banger. So I do think seeing people in dating profiles doing things with other people is important, with the caveat that I'm not a big fan of wild, reckless party photos, because that's not where I am at the moment, and not with lots of people of the opposite sex in what appear to be hands around waists and other intimate positions that imply past relationships, whatnot.
Well, and the thing with the photos is that then prompts you to ask, tell me about this photo, seems like you've got a really good group of friends, and I want to hear oh yeah, we went on this camping trip, and this was after we got out of the water, and we were all day drinking, so we were drunk, and it was just a really good old time. I want to hear the backstory of where that if it is a party photo, for me that's fine, but I want to hear about the party and it not just be oh yeah, we go to downtown Scottsdale every Friday. That was taken a couple of years ago. I don't want to hear that. I want specific stories about instances where you hung out with your friends and where it was so fun and memorable that you guys wanted to take a photo.
Okay, so we're talking a little bit about red flags and dating profiles. I'm just wondering, can we quickly generalize what ideal photos are for dating profiles? Because it sounds one with people around you. I would say, based off what we've already discussed, having a close-up of your face Like, not in shadow, so it's clear, like, who you are?
Teeth. I want to see teeth.
Interesting.
That's something that I'm really
I don't
big on.
smile with my teeth. I look like the devil when I do that.
Do it. No, that's not your actual face. No, that's not your
trying
actual
too
face.
hard.
You have to relax your smile. Like, when you laugh, you could have, like, a candid picture of you laughing. I feel like that's a good way of, like, portraying yourself.
Yes.
That's a fair point.
Exactly.
Okay, fair point. Yeah, there shouldn't be a bunch of, weird gaps in your face.
You doing an activity.
Yes, activity or hobby.
Yes, of some sort.
Non-violent, not weird.
Okay, but also, like, I think that it's also bad if you say a non-violent activity. Just post whatever is the best activity that you want to post about, because I think that it's a good way of, like, sorting through the bad things. You know what I mean? Like, as a girl, if I'm sorting through a profile and somebody's like, oh yeah, I go hunting all the time and stuff like that, I would prefer to know that they go hunting all the time in their profile and just swipe left immediately, instead of waiting until that point where they're like, you want to go hunting with me? And I'm like, hell no.
Interesting point. Okay. Yeah, I feel those are pretty good principles for putting together a dating profile. Maybe have one where you're smartly dressed, show that you clean up well, and we can go fancy places.
Yeah, I think, like, a body photo is important for,
Below or above the belt?
just like a profile, like out hiking.
Okay.
So you can see, like, their body type, because, different strokes for different folks.
I went on a date one time with this guy, and he said in his profile on Bumble that he was 6'2". So I was like, okay, that's kind of... And he took pictures in such a way that made him look freaking large. Like, large long ways. And I was like, okay, like, cool. You know what I mean? I would prefer to date someone that was taller than me. I don't know the reason behind that. I just prefer to. And I ended up meeting up with him, and I was wearing some platform Doc Martens, so I was about 2 inches taller than what I normally am, and he ended up being 5'2".
Oh shit!
So it was more of a if you're lying about this, what else are you lying about?
Yeah, that's
sort of
an
situation,
easy
because it's
pass.
like, if you're gonna say, oh, I'm 5'8" when you're actually 5'7", that's so much different than saying you're a foot taller than you actually are.
Well, he also had an 18-inch penis. It says so on his dating profile.
That was what his third leg was?
This all seems about right. Giselle, we've discussed a couple of things. One thing we've also explored on this podcast is, marriage and children. What are your current thoughts on marriage? Is that something you're aspiring towards? Is it not at a mental state you're at in your life?
Definitely not a mental state that I'm at right now. I don't know. I don't really see a lot of the benefits of marriage.
Tax purposes.
Even then.
Getting cheated on.
Yeah. Great anecdotes for podcasts.
I think there's a lot of power to having a partner that you actively choose every day to wake up next to, and I think there's a lot of power in that ability to leave at any point and not have a societal contract that states that you guys are stuck with each other till death. I think that's kind of an awful expectation to put on two humans that come from a line of evolution where we're not really supposed to be stuck with one person.
Whoa there, miss. I read The Moral Animal in high school. Okay, regardless of whether or not you'd want to spend the rest of your life with a single person, would you be interested in having kids, adopting, at any point?
I've always wanted
raising
to
regrets?
adopt. I don't think I want to have kids, but I don't know anymore, because you get so many messages, whether it be overt or subtle, like, oh, when are you thinking about having kids, or like TikTok, like your biological clock.
Who are you hanging out with? Stop hanging out with them.
Or even patients where I work, they're like, they'll ask my schedule. I'm like, oh yeah, I get off at like 12:30. It's pretty nice. I'm like, oh, that's perfect. You can pick up the kids and like spend the afternoon with the kiddos. I was like, yeah, I don't have kids though. So there's like a lot of like subtle, lot of subtle messaging about the expectation of having kids, and so there is this like this fear built around like a decisive answer of I do not want kids. Like I want to be able to say that because we can always change our mind, right? We can always grow and develop in 5 years. Maybe I say I do want to have kids. But, we're so cautious about saying, well, I don't think I want to have kids, when we really should be like, I don't want to have kids right now. That doesn't mean I don't ever want to have kids. But
you're speaking it into existence so that you don't get pregnant right now.
There we go.
Incredible. Yeah.
I don't want to have kids right now.
Yeah, I'm thinking as you're saying that when you have conversations with people, often you fall back, especially people like you don't normally talk to, of certain religious groups, certain age ranges. You fall back on topics you've spoken about with other people in those groups before, if you're not certain what to talk about. And I think especially for older people, they're like, oh, people in their 20s. I've talked to people in their 20s before. I was a person in my 20s that all I was thinking about was marriage and children. And so they rely on their own experiences and make inferences based off that. Similar to how if you wanted to bond with like a really young kid, you'd be like, hey, you like Legos and Minecraft and chicken nuggets? I think they don't mean it in a bad way. I don't even know if it's in a judgmental way. Maybe some of the time. I think it is more of like, these are the things I used to be interested in. These are the things I used to do. I'm going to have to go on a limb and assume this person has those interests too.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is no one's ever responsible for anything. And there's always a good faith explanation for horrible probing comments.
Yeah, no. Not always a good faith.
That seems fair. Naomi, I have something to say.
Okay.
Maybe I should sing it instead.
No.
Oh, they say you can put a price on anything, or maybe I just misheard that song. But here's a segment I want to make, and we only have a single take, so it's time for The Price is Wrong. Do-do-do! The Price is Wrong bears no relation to any game show past price. Once again, Naomi, we have a segment of The Price is Wrong, the only podcast game show where you have to tell me the approximate value of the horrible, horrible relationship products I have found. Giselle, of course, knows all about this because she's been listening to all of our episodes so far, right?
Have.
But the general gist is I'm going to give you a product description, and you guys have to tell me the price without going over the actual value. So I'm going to give you 4 products.
It's like a $5-10 range, so we can a grace period.
I'll give you a grace period,
okay.
Sure. If you massively overshoot it, though, I'm penalizing you.
Okay.
I don't think I have to go back and check. I don't think Naomi's actually won any of these.
No, I
Giselle,
haven't won a
do
single
not
one.
let her get a crown this time. So yeah, I'm gonna give you the product description, and then you're going to give me the estimated price, and whoever is closest wins, honor and glory, the likes of which the world has never seen. Product 1. True Pheromones. True Instinct Pheromone Candle with Eco Soy. It's the same amazing formula as our True Instinct oil-based formula. Sex, sex, sex! Did we say sex? No other product in the market can beat this. Up until now, the highest mixture of androstenone was 5 milligrams per 10 milliliters. Well, we took one thing steps further and decided to ask 1.5 milligrams more. Plus, we threw in androstenol and androtestosterone for a totally different kick in a slow-release oil-based formula. Hands down, this product will revolutionize the way people attract women. It contains 3 key ingredients necessary to attract any woman to you.
Wait, I'm so confused. Is it a candle that you burn while you're having sex, or is it a candle that you burn before you have sex?
I couldn't figure it out. I was looking and I didn't understand the use case.
Okay.
It's probably just like a general candle that you burn so that everything smells like
Sex.
Sex.
So it's not even for other people, it's just so your house has...
No, so when you go out, your clothes smell like it, you smell like it. Because supposedly, pheromones are supposed to be like undetectable, but when you smell them, they have an effect on the other person. So if you're burning this candle in your house and you leave your house, you're going to be covered in...
Seems inefficient. It seems like more likely someone would be attracted to like your drywall. They'd be like, ooh, this drywall is doing something to me. Anyhow, no distractions. Let me know how much is this candle. I will give you one hint. It is less than $20. But
Really?
it could be
What a
significantly
deal.
lower than that, so don't overshoot too much.
Can you tell me the ingredients?
Ah, boy, now I have to pull it up. Let me go back to that sketchy website I was on. I'm not going to list the name of this website because I don't feel they should get any of our viewers' business. Ingredients of this candle. Androstenone, androstenol, and androtestosterone.
That's the 3 ingredients.
And eco soy. Don't forget the eco soy.
4
How is
ingredients.
eco soy?
I don't know.
It's ecosystem.
You don't get any more information. I need a price. Naomi, final answer.
$18.
$18.
I'm gonna go with 15.
Oh, neither of you got it. You can get this incredible sex candle for only $7.99. What a steal.
What?
So
But
neither
it's
of you
sex,
get that
sex,
one.
sex.
So let's move on to number 2. True instinct, the highest concentration of sexual pheromones known to man. There's a clear reason True Instinct is our best-selling pheromone solution. What is that? It's sex. If you're ready to be the alpha male that women crave instantly, True Instinct is all you need. We've taken the potent pheromone androstenone and released it in concentration never before seen in the pheromone world. It transforms you into the guy that all women instinctuously crave. And they did spell it instinctuously. If you're looking for subtlety, this is not it. It will create an aura of confidence around you that signals to women naturally that you were made for them. Men will instantly respect you. Is that all they'll do? Women will immediately want to sleep with you, and you'll generate more attention and attraction than you've ever experienced. Now wait, I know what our listeners are thinking. They're already alpha males. Why would they need this product? Well, this is true even for men who are already an alpha male, because True Instinct contains a concentration that is impossible to replicate in nature.
Damn.
How much do you think you can buy a bottle of these pheromones for?
It's priceless.
I'll mention this, and we can do this either way, either the normal selling price or the current sale price. Which would you two prefer?
Ooh.
What do you think this goes for on
Let's do
sale?
normal.
Normal, okay.
Yeah.
Would you like me to pull up the specifications for that too?
Yes, please. And then would you give us it's less than 1,000 because
This is fair, okay.
I have no.
Okay,
points
so
to
it has
compare
active
to.
ingredients, androstenone, androstenedione, and androtestosterone. It has a total pheromone content of 8,500 mcg. I don't know units. Effective dosage is 30 to 150 mcg. Duration of effect is 8 to 10 hours, and it is unscented. This is good stuff.
What's our top number?
Top number, I would say no more than $200.
What is it? What kind of device does it come?
It's a
Just
little
like a
bottle,
dropper?
and you're supposed to take, I guess, like a Q-tip or something, and just dip it in and
Okay.
brush it around your neck
Okay.
or other intimate parts.
$47.95.
Interesting. Giselle?
$99.99.
69.
69.
No. This normally goes for $130. So Giselle is going to take this. Currently, it is on sale for the amazing price of just $77.
We have to get it because it's sex.
This is true. Honestly, if we can get a Patreon going, we could actually start buying these products and testing them. Maybe that's where our podcast
That's
needs
what we
to
do
go.
on Friday nights is we just put on
Yeah.
pheromones and go to the club.
Yeah. Giselle, such a look of disgust on your face. 2 more. Giselle is in the lead right now. Okay, so you're already an alpha male, but what if that's not enough? Well, that's why you need the True Jerk men's pheromone formula. Want to attract the bad girls who like bad boys? True Jerk, what a horrible name, is your answer. We've combined the power of alpha male enhancing androsterone with 100% pure copulin pheromones. And by leaving out the pheromones that make women feel safe and protected, create an attention getter exclusively for bad boys. The majority of our products focus on making women feel safe, comfortable, and open. The problem is that not all of our customers are looking to sleep with women who want protecting men. Sometimes the hottest women are bad girls who like bad boys.
Bad boys.
What do you think a bottle of True Jerk formula goes for?
What? How large is said bottle?
Of course, Giselle's first question is how large it is.
Non-negotiables, Joel.
So this is a 1,650 mcg bottle. The last one was 6,000, so it is considerably less, but it is for bad girls. Can you really put a price on that? You can't. That's the whole point of the game.
What's our top number?
No more than $100.
Ooh, a steal. Okay.
Yeah. How about you go first? Because
Yeah.
Naomi guessed first last time.
I'm gonna guess $29.99.
69. Naomi.
$89.95.
Ooh, Naomi, you went over again. You can get this for the low price of $60 normally, and is now on sale for $44.96. Wow. Giselle, that is
I just
want to
know, like, who is buying this? Like, I want to, like, imagine, like, if they made a commercial, it was, like, that guy that's, like, super stereotypically nerd-looking, and he just walks into a club with this, like, true jerk, like, pheromones on, and everyone's like, oh, yeah!
Like Velcro.
Okay, that is 2 for Giselle. Naomi, I don't know if you can take the lead, but I am interested if you can get this one right. Okay, so let's say you want to have an entire lifetime of incredible sex, appealing to all women of all stripes. You would need the True Pheromones Complete Pheromone Attraction System for Men. Boy, that's difficult to say in one breath. You can get the Mix and Match Pheromone Bundle. It allows you to instantly select the emotional response you want to appeal to, because sometimes you can't plan for who you'll talk to or a situation you'll find yourself in. This includes 1 bottle of each of their pheromone solutions, including True Instinct, True Opener, True Love, True Communication, True Essence, True Trust, True Alpha, True Jerk, True Charisma, and True Radiance. You'll be able to match the emotional and sexual signals you send to every situation you find yourself in. So here's what ends up happening. You order True Opener, a pheromone blend designed to get her talking without making you seem like you were an alpha male who's trying too hard. It's for your first date. Now, because of True Opener, that first date turns into 2. Only problem, you found out she's into bad boys, and you can't wait until tomorrow for your bottle of True Jerk. The complete attraction system allows you to mix and match pheromones to your specific needs. Being prepared isn't just for Boy Scouts. In the dating world, you've got to be ready for anything. So currently, in the actual text, it says that if you order today, you save 50% off the normal price. It's less than $1 per day for 365 days of more sex, better relationships, and instant connections for women.
Wait, is it all of the, like, pheromones that you listed, or is it, like, you can mix and match
No,
which
it's all
ones
of
you
those
want?
in
It's
one
all
box.
of them.
Yeah, that's why you're never unprepared. So it is less than $365. That is the hint you get if you buy it now. Normally it goes for $600. So what do you think the discount price is?
$295.
Ooh. Giselle?
How large?
So this is Giselle's catchphrase. When you pull her jaw straight.
I just want to know what quantity you're getting. It's supposed to last a lifetime, right?
You don't need that much, Giselle.
These are powerful.
Let me... Giselle... to answer your question, this is... They don't say. They don't actually specify how much you get of each of these. I assume it's 6,000 like milligrams and with everything else.
So you said $295?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
He said it's normally like $600, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna go $199.
$295, $199. You can get this for only $249. Giselle, you take all 3 and the pennant and the championship belt. My God.
Okay.
How incredible.
As a result, your final question from at least me of this podcast is, how small is too small?
The question all of our viewers have been waiting for.
If we're talking personality, I prefer like a middle range personality. But if we're talking dick size, oh man, I mean, I don't want to.
We can do it in metrics or listeners.
Because Jordan was telling me recently, and to our listeners, Jordan is our roommate. Jordan was telling me recently that research shows that women, when asked about short-term relationships, will have an average, like a larger dick size answer than a long-term relationship.
Interesting. I don't know. I've never had an experience where like I was like, oh, there's just not enough to work with. But I think regardless of size, humans are creative and will find ways around increasing size and or pleasure.
What a diplomatic answer. Great.
She actually means she has a strap-on in the drawer beside her bed.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was thinking.
That's the diplomatic way of getting to that.
I think nowadays you can go as big or as small as you want.
Giselle believes in democracy, the freedom of choice. She wants to be able to purchase whatever her needs are in whatever store of her choosing. Because we live in America, don't we? The greatest country on earth.
Yeah, we live in America, not the greatest country on earth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so take out that, and we just live in America.
Giselle, I think that's all the questions we have. Is there anything you want our listeners to know about you or to go out on? One thing we've asked some of our guests in the past, is there any cause or important thing going on that you want to draw their attention to?
Ooh.
To give you one example, give you some more time to think, we've been plugging Planned Parenthood on the podcast.
Nice.
We think Planned Parenthood does good work. Naomi also wants to draw attention to the Sunrise Movement. Naomi, can you talk a little bit about them?
I barely did any research on them, but all I know about them is that they're young activists coming together to change legislation in DC this summer. I don't know if it's just for the summer, but it's becoming a movement, and they've gotten the attention of a bunch of senators and congresspeople.
I'll say this for our listeners. They're a direct action movement, which is exactly what's needed in climate change activism. Climate change is not really a ticking clock anymore. It's more of an alarm clock that you can't turn off. It's very important that there are people out there fighting, and if there's anything you can do to promote a climate change mitigation and resilience strategy in your community, please do whatever is needed in order to get that done.
You know it's actually a movement because some of them actually got arrested this week, so it's an actual movement now.
I think definitely if you have the means, donate to bail funds, because I think now we're in a country where some states have legalized these drugs, other states have not, and yet we still have people that are just sitting in jails because they can't afford to pay their bail to get out on a simple drug charge. So I think if you have the means, that's a great way to put your money where your mouth is and support legalization and decriminalization.
What are we legalizing?
All of it.
Sex.
Huh. This has been
And you guessed
legal
it. Sex.
I don't know if we can end on much of a higher note. Giselle, do you have any social media people can find you at?
Yeah, follow me on Instagram, at Fiddle Banjo Girl.
Awesome.
One
Any bands or groups you're a part of you want to draw attention to, or do you not want your name tied to those?
Oh, no, you guys can come check me out. Cisco and the Race Cars. If you're into bluegrass, that's a plus. That is a non-negotiable. You have to be into bluegrass.
If you wear scarves, it's an automatic yes, even if you aren't into bluegrass.
I'll say this also. Giselle was the founder of a little-known band called the Beatles. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of them, but she used to go by Ringo.
Oh, I did name my first cat Ringo.
Oh, no, I don't. We need to wrap this up before it gets worse. Thank you so much for tuning in. Talking about modern dating with Giselle Lee. From us at Date These Guys, stay sexy.